Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to this little live. Let's just get a sound check. Can you hear us? Please, somebody type if the sound is working and everything is good. Let's just have a look who's in the stream. Looks like we have Cosmic Seeds still at work, but decided to hang out anyway. Cool. Chase, Sorcery, hello, nice to see you. We might persuade you to do a little talk the next time. And TCG family, hi. So let us just see. Can anyone confirm if the sound is working and on? Let's just have a look. No one so far. Hello, hi Solar God, can you hear us? And is the sound decent? Sounds good. Okay,
Great,
perfect.
great.
Good to hear. It's kind of bad just blabbering away if you can't hear us. That would be bad. Hello. And hi, Simon. Good. Well, so we pretty much just wanted to do a little live because this is, exactly our video number 200. So we've been at it for about a year and we have met some really, really cool people out there. All of you guys watching right now. So we wanted to do a little celebration and a little Q&A so you can do a little ask me anything. So if you have any questions, you can just pop them in chat and I will try to keep up as best I can. And we also have a few questions from our Discord community. So are you ready to get into some gamer questions?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, yes, hello, everybody. So the first question we got was how did we get into gaming? And was not specified if it was, TCG gaming or gaming in general. So we just thought that we're going to talk a little about gaming around TCG.
Yep.
In this question.
Okay, so are you going to tackle like a computer game or a board game? Do you have any good ideas lined up here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what was like the first thing that you got into as a kid?
Well, I think maybe I got my computer a little later than everybody. I got on the.
You were kind of a bad nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got on the PC wagon. I think maybe it was in the 7th grade or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
But we're old, so do remember that
it's like
computers were like not particularly normal.
Yeah, not that. Yeah, and so nice to see you, Coxus. I hope it's how you pronounce it because I've only read your name in our Discord. So yeah, so nice to see you. Oh yeah, so back to gaming.
Yeah.
This must be around, I don't know, maybe 97 or something like that. Yeah, around that era. And the first game I really remember going hard into was GTA, the first one ever, to be released. And it's nowhere like how GTA looks today. And today it's fully 3D and stuff like that.
It looked like Lego cars.
It looked like Lego cars, and you are having this top-down perspective on the game. But it was the first game that had this motto: "It's good to be bad." And that was it was so fun.
Hi, Savannah. Good to see you. So
hello,
happy
Lion.
You could join.
Yeah.
So that was like the first PC game. Do you have a board game as well that you remember that you started off playing?
Again, I'm a bad nerd because I also got into the board game, scene a little late. I've been playing many of these normal board games like, Monopoly. But I think the first, not mainstream board game that I really loved was a board game I played with my high school friends, and it was called Junta. So a junta, it's like this
mafia sort of.
No, not mafia, but this, group that grabs power in some countries.
Yeah.
And this card game, board game, was really, politically incorrect. It was featured around running a banana republic, and you could play as different roles. You could be, some generals or the president, and then you had to divide the foreign aid you got from
Wow, so it was really about
United
being bad.
Nations and give it to your generals and yourself. and the goal of the game was to get enough money into your Swiss bank account. Yeah,
Okay, very politically incorrect. I'm not certain that game would have been made today.
probably not,
Probably
but it
not.
was such a blast, and it usually ended up with everybody being really angry at each other because it got the worst out in people. So yeah, great fun.
It served its purpose.
Yeah. What about you?
I think some of the first games I remember was playing on an Amiga and on a Sega. And I remember this game, and I don't know the platform. It was called Prince of Persia. It
Oh
was this,
yeah,
you were like this little dude, and you have to make all sorts of, but it was on like a level sort of Mario like thing, but just with like, yeah, different challenges. And as I got a little older, I think some of the first things that I remember vividly, like being obsessive about, was Diablo 1.
mm.
That was definitely what got me into like the whole computer game thing, because it was fun and it was exciting and there was a lot of flavor, and it was really, I played Diablo 1 with my little brother, not, I mean, constantly. What's up?
There's just
You're
great
so
banter
old.
going on. You're
Yeah,
so old, Chase. Yeah. So Chase was also a big fan of Prince of Persia. Yeah.
yeah, and it was really fun. And I remember my best friend, who is also a girl, and she's still my best friend this day. We played all the time. I think we actually managed to melt down her Sega at one point. The game was like stuck in there because it had gotten too hot. So yeah, a lot of gaming going on. And my first board game, I don't really have, I think I got into the board games pretty late as well, but we were sort of made up for that later on. But I played like just your average Monopoly, all sorts of kids games. And then Stratego, I'm not sure you have that anywhere else. You probably do, where you have to like find each other's flags. And then Catan, all sorts of like different, more developed board games.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely. It's always fun too. I have this co-worker, and he's big into board gaming. He has like a gazillion of them, and yeah, it's really fascinating to see how much is out there.
Yeah, and so like there's a lot of different stuff, and you can really do co-op. You can do fight against each other, and we've played a lot of board games as we've gotten older. Pandemic, bad one to mention maybe, but a lot of different stuff as we've gotten older. So that was like the first. How did we get into gaming from PC games and board games? What was the next one? What cats? The cats. Unfortunately, the cats are nowhere to be seen right now. But we do have two cats, two Mancoon cats, and if we're recording in the living room like right now, you can usually hear them.
Oh
Unfortunately,
yeah.
they're very noisy. They're very big cats. So maybe we'll get to show one later as they come by. So what is your history with Magic and TCGs and collecting? So what's like the earliest memory of
Oh
buying or getting a TCG card?
well, unfortunately, I got into Magic at just around the wrong time, which means fourth edition, Ice Age, and Homelands.
Had you just been like a year
Yeah.
earlier, you would have, or you would have bigger regrets, not
Oh
necessarily
yeah.
better cards.
Yeah, because to this story is that somewhere around end of school, I was too cool for Magic, so I sold my entire collection, or almost my entire collection, and it's still a bit painful to this day. But yeah, I got into Magic because all the friends at school were playing it, and I just started collecting and buying. And I remember the first deck I built was black white, I think, with a lot of removal and knights and skeletons. Just whichever cards I think looked nice. And yeah, it was a pretty bad deck. Actually, most of my decks were pretty bad. Also around that time. But I just really I enjoyed the art and Magic so much, and for me it was mostly collecting and just having the cards. And I remember that I was really into trying to get all the cards from the original it's not alpha, but we had this called the core edition, and was the same cards as was in the fourth edition, but also from unlimited and revised and stuff like that. And I was really hard into trying to get the entire collection of the white, and I'm so close. I
Hmm.
just needed a blaze of glory, and then I would have had it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think we should just pick up like this question right now. So, how do you balance being so cool and your love of games like sorcery? What changed? Did you embrace your nerd, true inner nerd, or what happened?
Um. So what? Sorcery isn't cool.
Sorcery is pretty epic.
Yeah, I think it is actually.
Yeah.
For me, sorcery is like going back in time, going back to what really got me, turned on about magic. I think sorcery has the exact vibe I was looking for when I got into magic. And yeah, I think it's just gorgeous seeing those hand painted art pieces again. And I didn't know I was missing it at Magic, but now after having seen
Hmm.
Sorcery, I actually miss seeing more hand painted and handcrafted art in Magic. What about you?
To the whole sorcery thing. He just said you were too cool and got rid of your card collection, but you're back at it.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah,
found out he wasn't that cool. That's what happened.
yeah. I had
Just
some
kidding.
some some cards, lying around here and there, and had kept a deck or two or something like that. And Magic just have this amazing ability of getting you, wheeled back in. You get some new friends or new co-workers and whatever, and it's just like, oh, you played Magic. I was like, no, I don't play Magic that much. I only have this one deck. And then before you have seen, getting to look around, you've just been I bought cards again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think everybody has a getting out of Magic story and a getting back into Magic again story. Um, yeah, let's just see what. Oh, a lot of people have a lot of love for the Prince of Persia. That is
Mm.
actually pretty epic. Hi, Popo. So nice to see you. Another fellow Dane there. Hi, Mike. Thanks for joining. And Savannah, you still have your Sega, the handheld one. I think I broke one of those. I actually got one for a birthday, but no, I remember my little brother broke it. Darn it, that would be cool to still have.
Yeah, and
So,
Kupru is also right. Our local LGS here in our hometown was actually closing down,
yep.
and that was a really big of a bummer. But it looked like it has been bought by somebody. We don't know whom
Yeah,
yet.
do let us know in the comments, Prue
Yeah,
Prue, if
if
you
you know
know.
something, we don't.
Because so far we know that it's back up again and it's starting around like the 1st of June, but we have no other things, information about that anyways. So I'm just going to share a bit about my magic story
Mhm.
because a lot of people are speculating that we like met each other due to magic, but we didn't actually. We're just super nerdy. Both of us have a really strange taste in music, and we met online, and we were friends for a couple of years before we started dating, and we have been together for 19 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my story with magic starts all the way back. I think I was like in the 5th or 6th grade, pretty early on. I had some guys from my class, and they started playing magic, and they wanted to show us. And slowly but surely, it became like the whole craze at school. Everybody started playing. So I went into this really old LGS. It's like one of the oldest in the country still, in the middle of Copenhagen, called Fantasque. And in there, you could buy like a few products. There were, I think, a few, and maybe fourth edition Ice Age and stuff around the same time as you. And we bought like a dual deck thing so I could also teach my little brother, and a couple of booster packs and stuff like that. And throughout the years, I've been playing a little bit on and off. But as we got older, when we met each other, we had like a whole talk about role playing games, metal music, all the nerddoms. But
Yeah, and,
we,
and, and Simon, that's the kind of music, heavy metal, some sort.
but this
And
was a very
yeah,
specific.
I just find the CD. I have props.
Cool, cool.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Jens will get like the props. Well, there was a very specific type of music. This is sort of mm, Elven King is the name of it. I don't know. I think it's a very obscure band. Not a lot of people probably don't know it, but it's like metal, power metal, folk mix crossover. But as I was saying, I've been playing Magic for a really long time, and I never threw away my entire collection. I just sort of placed it on the attic. At one point, Jens was like, "Okay, never mind about these Magic cards." He was moving in with me in my apartment, and maybe he would just trash them. And I was like, "Okay, hold on there. Let's not go too hasty here." So I convinced him to not throw out his Magic cards, and at some point we just picked it back up and were really happy that we didn't throw it out because it was pretty cool to have some of these old cards. And eventually, I found my old cards at my mom's attic as well. So we've been playing pretty much on and off. And I mean, like with Magic, and especially over such a long time, we've been playing more. Then we had small kids, then we didn't play as much. And now we're back into it because our kids are big enough to play as well. And we play Magic, we play Flesh and Blood, we play Sorcery. And we tried out a few other games, but we don't really have the time for a lot of games. So we're sort of like honing in on the card types we really enjoy playing. I'm just gonna take the chat. Elven King covers. Yeah, exactly, Simon. There's definitely, I think there is a sorcery card in there somewhere. There's a lot of great art. Yeah, exactly, Simon. There's a lot of cool art pieces there.
I can't find the King CD.
I don't know, Prue Prue. I'm sorry you didn't. We were really hoping you might join the live today and could give us some information. We have zero idea who it is. We're just discussing that our local LGS has been saved by someone, but we don't know who yet. Simon is just saying that a lot of the Elven King albums actually could be really cool art.
Yeah. I
And
think
there
that
is.
might be actually why I bought the first one. Just going around shopping in your local
Yeah, back when there was actually
actually
record
music
stores.
record stores. But yeah, just browsing covers and thinking, wow, that looks awesome, and something about elves, and yeah, that then I bought it, and
Yeah, and I
yeah,
was in like a really indie record shop, the one where you had to be really cool to go into. And I didn't feel really cool enough, but I was wandering around and I saw it and I was like, oh, this looks like some sort of like role playing music that I would like. So I by accident bought the CD and Jens bought the same CD and we sort of connected over that one CD cover online. And yeah, 20 years later and 3 kids later, here we are
yeah,
playing
exactly.
Magic.
So thank you, Elvin King. Oh, and Savannah Lion sold his P7 collection and got a house. I sold my Magic collection,
And
and
God,
I got this great CD. And since you are,
it's bad. It's really, really
Dutch
bad.
native, you might actually notice some hard native techno from the Netherlands.
Hi, Alex. Nice to see you. Yeah, so you got
So yeah, I
bad
got this
music.
great CD.
Yeah, yeah. That was a problem back in the day where you didn't have the internet. You didn't know what your cards were worth, and if you just liked some art and it was pretty, you just switched or
Yeah.
traded with someone, even if it was a Mox or a Wheel of Fortune or anything. So a couple of questions here. Mike is saying top 3 artists. Oh my God, that's difficult. I would have to say Metallica is always somewhere on the top 3, but right now the newest album, yikes! I think it's gone a bit stale, so not very happy with that one. And perhaps there's a really small Swedish rock folk metal band called Gode, and that's just a really cool band as well. Um,
Aren't they Norwegian?
I think they're maybe Norwegian and Swedish
Oh,
because there's like members from more than one Nordic country. And a third one, I'm not sure. What about you? Top 3 bands?
well, I love my Thunderdome as Savannah Lion. It's always great to have people from the Netherlands because they're like, yeah, it's Dutch hardcore. And I'm like, yeah, it is.
Oh, you're talking about sorcery artists. Okay, cool. Well, that's difficult. There's so many great ones. For me, I think probably Elvira Shakarova. I really enjoy her art, and she does a lot of really intricate, detailed work. I really like that. Matthias Fresk is really a new name I don't know a lot about, and I'm really enjoying it. It has a really sort of rock, heavy metal feel to it. Really enjoying that art as well. Um, and oh, only 3. That's difficult. Yikes. I don't know.
Mhm.
Gadu, I think the new artist I really like. I think his art is very iconic. It's easily recognizable. I think it's very good. What about you? If you have to say some art, do you have like one piece that stands out?
Mm, I think those dryads, I'm really loving those.
That's Alara.
Yeah, I think that is stunning art.
Yep, very
But for
good.
me, the sites have been really awesome. I really enjoy the sites a lot.
Absolutely. I think the idea that you get like this whole miniature painting is very cool. It's really pretty. So, what has been the best and worst about making video content from Sorcery Chase? What has been your favorite part about making content and what's been the most difficult?
About sorcery?
No, I think just about general content creation.
Oh, wow. Well, I think it has, sort of changed during,
Yeah?
during this time we've been doing it. Um, I still think it's kind of nerve-wracking to
Yeah.
be speaking so much English because it is not our native language, and for me it goes. You had a lot, brush up with your PhD and going to
Yeah.
the United States, but for me it goes 20 years back or something, to when I actually had it in school. So I think speaking a foreign language is always kind of hard, and then also being on screen, I think that was a bit stressful at the start, and we had a lot of discussion about being on screen with
Yeah.
talking heads or not. And at some point I think you just said, let's just do it. What's the worst thing that could actually happen?
Yeah, I think I maybe just got a bit fed up. It was very impractical to not be on screen, but still try to deliver information, but only showing your hands. And I don't know, I felt like it got weird. It would be weird not to just be in front of camera. And I'm not, a huge fan of it, but you actually do get used to it, especially because we do a lot of videos where we edit a lot. So I'm, sitting there with my headphones on, and you get used to the sound of your own voice. It's
Yeah.
never gets great, but you get used to it.
Yeah, and also the time aspect, as Savannah Line is saying, it's kind of hard to have two full-time jobs and three kids and two cats, and
Yeah.
also going to have some kind of quiet time to actually make recordings.
Yeah.
And we actually record in the bedroom of our big son, and he's so nice that he lets us actually use it,
Yeah.
because if he didn't, we wouldn't really have a nice place to film.
Nope. Nope.
So
Yeah. I think the greatest aspect has been all of you guys.
yeah,
It has been amazing. We have met so many really kind and cool people, and a lot of people who we don't even know that just show up in the comments and support us and send us email. And Savannah Lyons, who just has sent us a lot of great, nice things. And it has just really been great to nerd out and get in touch with a lot of people who love TCGs. And that's why we originally wanted to do this channel, because we're like, okay, we talk a lot about TCGs. Maybe we should record some videos and maybe reach out, and we're both teachers, so I think there's also like a
Yeah.
teaching aspect that we sort of maybe want to let newcomers in the TCG space help them out, figure out what's what. But I also think the time aspect, that is definitely the most difficult. We usually spend, I think, maybe 10 to 15 hours on each video, especially those that are a little longer, because you have to script them, you have to record them, and we do a lot of takeovers because we mess up or say something that's not right. And then there's a lot of editing and promoting the videos, making sure the videos are good. So I think the time aspect is the most difficult, and we're both full-time workers, so it's difficult to find the time for it.
Yeah, and also this my fourth point.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes we've been doing some videos and we just be like, this video is so great, and we have been editing our little butts off, and we really like the video, and then it just dies before it's even born on the
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah, and sometimes the video gets a lot of traction, and the video is like, it's nice, it's good, but we didn't think it was like super good. I think we're always like happy with the videos, because if it's bad, we just scrap it and we don't upload it, because we don't want any of you to watch something that's not any information or any value in. But yeah, definitely seeing some of those really videos that took like 4, 5, 6, 7 hours to edit just go down the drain. That can be a little disheartening at times.
Yeah. I also see there's a lot of people saying that they like the CNN channel part.
Yeah.
And that's actually really fun, because we made the CNN news because sometimes there's just this little nugget of information that you want to get out, but there's not enough to do a 4 or 5 minutes video. So we thought, how about just doing this little fun format where you just put all the little news together and just blow them out there like some sort of big brief news.
Yeah.
And then somebody on the channel said, yeah, it's like cardboard news or
Yeah,
cardboard
I
nerd
think he
or
said
something,
you're
nerd
the
news.
CNN of
Yeah.
magic, and we were like, oh, we might be the CNN. Let's go with that. That's fun. And then we made fun of it and kind of did like, oh, it's the cardboard nerd news. And yeah, and I think it's a nice small format that everybody can watch in 5 minutes if you don't have the time for a longer one. So I'm just going through. So Pru Pru, yes, I do listen to some Danish metal, and I will be going to the metal festival here in Næstved and listening to some newer bands and getting some music in my ears in August. Um, Sorcery set with only Swedish metal album covers. I'm not
Yeah,
even kidding. I
let's
think
go.
that would work. I legitimately think that could work. And yeah, content creation can definitely be difficult. And if we speak Französisch, I'm not sure that's
Nope.
most. Nope, we speak a bit of German, not great. English, I speak a little bit of Spanish as well. And then ancient Greek and Latin is, if anyone's up for fun stuff like that, I'm not certain. Yeah, our son could definitely be making a living charging us some time in his room. That would be a good idea. And DR, hi, thank you. Good to see you here as well. So, who are your own favorite cardboard channels? Do you have time to consume any content at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, we consume a lot of content to stay updated and on board. And I think we're both like academically injured. We both do a lot of research for our videos. Try to gather as much information in a fun and easy way. So, who would you say that you like watching?
Well, on the top of my mind, there's of course Rudy, Alpha Investments. I think that channel is just great for everything that has to do with the economics around, especially Magic the Gathering, but also other TCGs. And I think that's a really good channel to actually learn what's up and what's down, even though it's from this American perspective and we don't have the same fluctuating prices in Europe as they do in the United
Yep.
States. But you still get a good gist of what kind of sets might be good and what might not. Um, then there's also Tolarian Community College.
Yep.
I think that's a great channel. I think Brian is really fun. I think it's some nice quirky nerdness going around with a lot of humor and nice little glint in the eye. And I think his videos are also very informative, and I like his deep dives into if commander decks or whatever that just releases are actually any good. And I really love to see his booster box game. I think that is
Yeah.
funny. And I also have this Magic the Gathering Arena channel called Covert Go Blue that I really like to watch. He makes a lot of arena videos, and there's maybe a new deck every day. And I think it's really informative, and he has some good insights into gameplay, and it's informative without being hostile. Because sometimes I think maybe some of these arena video channels can be a little to the toxic side, and I don't want to listen to too much of that. So keep it within the game and have insights into gameplay, and I like that too. What
Yeah.
about you?
So I am actually not watching that much Magic. We do watch Rudy together and have a talk about it usually afterwards. I have watched a lot of Marksman, but I do think that sometimes it gets a little repetitive. And we're more on sorcery right now and hyped about that. So I'm watching a lot of Mike's content, a lot of the newer content creators. There's definitely a lot of content creators coming up right now. Winning Agenda, Wizards Den, a lot of sorcery content that's really good. And if I didn't mention you, I'm probably still watching you. I just can't remember it right now. There's a lot of great content out there. I do also enjoy like Red Zone Rogue, DM Amarda, who mostly focus on Flesh and Blood, but they also DM Amarda does a lot of other games as well. And Kellen from Red Zone Rogue is also interested, very interested and excited about sorcery. So a lot of different stuff. And also sometimes I watch like I try to find a video with very few views to just get like a different perspective, because sometimes if everybody's like watching the same things, we're all just reproducing the same information. So I like to get some total left field and just watch it and see what people say. Yeah, let's see here. Okay, Simon, if we have any tips for other people who are looking to content creation.
Also said that Time Star Magician has the same question.
Yeah.
Just do it, I think,
Yep.
might be actually the question
And
or
know
the
that you're
answer.
going to suck. I mean, at least our first maybe 25, maybe 50 videos are actually painful to watch right now, but you get better by doing it. So you just have to do it. You have to upload. And I think you should also know that people are actually a lot nicer than
Yeah.
you think. We had expected a lot of negative comments. We're a little old. We're not native speakers. People used to a lot of like hot, flashy things and a very quick pace. And we're more slow, in depth people. So we were not expecting to get like a great reception, but we really did. We had
Yeah.
very few nasty comments.
Yeah, almost none actually, and people have been so sweet. A little anecdote. I think I don't remember how many subscribers we had, maybe 20 or something. Really few. And one of them, it was actually Savannah Line here in the chat, wrote to us and said, "I really like your channel. I would really like to do something nice for you guys. Could I have your address?" And we were like, I don't know. I don't know, actually. Do you think it's something weird? Do you think it's something, sending a turd in a box or something? We were actually kind of worried. I was like, no, I think it's okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do it. Okay. And then I went to the post office and collected the package. I was like, it doesn't smell. It's not anthrax or anything. And we also opened it on camera, and we were a little worried about that because we had no idea what was in it. And
Yeah.
it was just such a relief, and it was such a nice gesture, and we became so happy about it.
Yeah, and it
It
was
was really nice.
amazing.
Yeah, it was actually amazing,
Just
I
getting
think.
that like, and Savannah Line, you know yourself, you're so kind, you're so generous, and you are helping people everywhere in the TCG space. And it was
Yeah,
just, it was a huge boost. It was definitely something that made us go, okay, this is actually really cool. We're making real connections with people out there. And that's just, I mean, that's absolutely invaluable. And we've had a lot of fun, and we had a lot of different people just connect right to us, and we're always happy to chat. So always send us a message if you feel like it.
yeah. But back on the creation content, just do it and keep doing it. There will be periods where things are really slow and nothing happens, and it seems like you're just beating your own pillow and getting nothing out of it. And then suddenly things change, things go really fast. Those subscribers will come, and the viewing hours will come, and just live on those good videos that you're getting out there at the start, and live a little on all the love you get from your community, because that really goes a long way.
Yeah, especially if you're not doing this for a living, but you're doing it because you enjoy it. Remember, keep going back to why am I doing this? Okay, you wanted to create a community, you wanted to discuss something that you really love and enjoy, like a hobby like TCGs. Definitely get into it, but also be smart about it. Watch some videos about the do's and don'ts. There's so much on YouTube to help you get started. And that's how we got started. We had never edited a video. I didn't know anything about search engine optimization. I didn't know anything prior to this. And you just learn it as you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
find
So
a smart wife, that also helps.
yeah, that also, that's always a good plan. Um, what inspired us? Well, mostly just getting to talk more about TCGs
Mm.
and just trying to find like-minded people where you know you're not playing as much magic in our LGS as we would like, because we have kids at home and they're still not big enough to be here without us. So it was really nice to just find an online community to have some of those magic or in general TCG talks with.
Yeah, and also, we are kind of introverted people, so going to an LGS and play Magic, it seems a little much, and doing it only by yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I am just rolling down here. Um, so many nice comments. Thank you so much. We were really nervous about this as well. We're like, are we just gonna sit here for an hour talking to ourselves? That would have been really weird. How is the local gaming scene in Denmark? Pretty good. I mean, the major store, Fao Cigar, is the name of the store in Danish. They have expanded and have, like, I think maybe something like 7 different locations in central Copenhagen, where it's very expensive to run a store, and they're doing great.
Yeah, but they are the big fish, and it seems like they're eating up most of the local game scene.
At
We
least in like
also,
Copenhagen.
yeah, way back we had two big stores in Copenhagen, and the one of them went bankrupt and was supported by customers and had a big influx of money to keep them afloat. And they're mostly doing comics at the moment.
Yep.
And the other is the Farah Cigar, and they're doing role-playing game and live role-playing game and magic and
And board
everything.
games
Yeah,
and yeah.
everything nerdy
But I
actually.
do think there is a lot of a scene here in Denmark, but not necessarily always in the LGS. I think a lot of us that grew up with Magic in the 90s were parents now. So I think there's a lot of people buying stuff, and especially online, and just playing like kitchen table with friends. When we do play with other people just besides each other, it's mostly our friends.
Yeah, and then we had this local store here
Yeah.
called Fanatic, and it was in our hometown and also in the town of Roskilde. And yeah, unfortunately, that store closed down, but it has been bought, and we hope it's going to survive. So the local game scene, most popular games might be Magic the Gathering, Pokemon.
Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, the big three.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it's hard to survive as an LGS. I think people are not buying enough, and the ones that frequents the store might be a little younger than we are, and maybe a little less prone to spend. So I think it's hard to survive as a game store.
Yeah, and I think you do need to provide more of a like holistic experience. You need to have some comfy chairs. You need to have a scene that's like working. You need to have like a coffee shop on the side. It seems like the demands on the LGS is getting higher and higher, and it is difficult to make money because rentals are higher, inflation, everything going up, but you're still not able to charge a lot extra because the cards themselves are pretty darn expensive.
Yeah. But I think one of the things that keeps Magic alive, at least for us, also is a lot of private initiatives. We have
Yeah.
Facebook, and we have a Magic scene on Facebook, and that is actually great. You can buy and collect cards and buy from other collectors in
Yep.
Denmark, and so far people have been really honest and nice and easy to work with.
Yeah, and it's a very small environment because Denmark is really, really small. So you're not going to be able to trick somebody and then stay in the group. You get immediately kicked if they found out that you did on purpose trick someone. So there's a lot of we're buying a lot of cards from Facebook from other private people because it's just easier.
Yeah, and I found a store in Jutland
Yeah,
with a really nice
your
proprietor, my,
card
my
pusher.
card pusher.
Yeah,
And I usually write to him around a new set comes out, and usually he has what I need, and he's easy to work with, and his prices are fair, and yeah,
yeah.
just no hassle. It's so nice.
So DR is saying that he has a close group of friends who play Commander. Yeah, the same for us. We have a few other friends, and whenever there's a school holiday or the kids are in school, but we have the time off, we get to play a lot of games, and we just play a lot at home together. And luckily, the kids are getting bigger, so they are playing Magic right now as well. But Commander is still a little too difficult. That's too many cards, too much English to memorize. And you're saying that he's going to do something cool with it in Roskilde. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I also hope that the staff in our local game store. I hope most of them will just stay. The owner Martin, or the proprietor
Yeah,
Martin,
the manager.
yeah, the
Yeah,
manager was, such a nice dude and really had this great energy when you came into the store.
yeah.
I don't know if he has found something else, but I hope so much that he stays. And that same goes for all the other people. Really talented and nice people to work with.
Yeah, and you need people to be really open and really welcoming, because otherwise, a lot of introverted people, as many are who play TCGs, are not necessarily the most welcoming. So you need the manager and the people there to be really good at saying, "Hey, he's new. Maybe you can invite him in for a game," so people feel welcome and are just greeted properly. So that would be really cool. Yeah, it is exactly DR. It's very, very safe to bind cards in the Facebook group. Yeah, coaches, absolutely. You probably need to have some sort of like food or drink there, or just really be great at pulling people in, because even if you're pulling in, I don't know, a couple of like both Yu-Gi-Oh players and Pokemon, those different activities might fire off, but unless people are actually buying something in the
Hmm.
store, it doesn't really help that they're just sitting there. In terms of the economic, in terms of the scene, it's great, of course, because you want people in the store, but it doesn't really help the economics.
No, exactly. The manager in our Fanatic, he said that usually people would buy maybe a Coke, maybe one or two booster packs, something like that. They would
Yeah.
spend, around 20 euros or $20 or around that amount. And they said that if there's not enough people, then you can't even, cover the wages for the staff.
No, exactly. It's really expensive. So, what are your favorite sets in Magic? Three favorite sets.
Okay, three favorite sets. Will you start?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I just want to say like the Ursa block, but that's too easy.
You're
um,
allowed to say
I
the
can
obvious.
like the one of them would have to be like the Ursa block. I am also a huge fan of the Weatherlight. It has a lot of like weird stuff in it, but I really enjoy it. And I actually also like, I know this is bad to say, but Streets of New Capenna, I love the whole Art Deco. I love the angel theme. Somehow it just absolutely failed in most people's eyes, but I really like that set. And maybe also Macadian Masks. That's also a really good set. There are a lot of good sets. I don't think the problem with Magic is the R&D, the research and design and gameplay. It's all the other things.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well,
Top three.
top three. There are so many great sets. I of course loved fourth edition. That was what got me into Magic, and
Nostalgia,
I
yeah.
just I just love the set. I think the art is great. I love the cards, and yeah, most of them would not even make it into any deck at this point in time. But it's just such a nostalgic vibe for me. So I would say fourth edition. Onslaught. I love this set. I
Yeah.
think it has such so many great elf cards and goblin cards, and it was just a really iconic set for me. So Onslaught is great. And of the newer sets, I think Everson Restored was a really
Oh
awesome
yeah,
set.
that was cool.
That's when I got back in Magic, and it was just such a banger set. Had so many great cards. So
Absolutely. Yeah, it was
yeah,
really a great set.
Mirage. Yeah,
Yeah, Mirage, definitely also a really cool set. A lot of great cards as well. But also a lot of these really old, I think also it's because the art is really strange and memorable as well. That definitely helps it.
yeah. So Prooper is asking, what are your strengths when playing and your biggest weakness? Will not tell you that. And when was your last jumping skill?
So what do you think that your greatest strength is?
I think I'm a decent deck builder. I think
Hmm.
that is one of my great strengths that I have. It sounds so pompous, but I think I have a knack of seeing cards that goes well together and seeing, uh, the potential in
Mm,
some cards. I think that is my great strength. My great weakness is that sometimes I get a little too fond of cards, and I actually don't have the heart to take them out of the deck, or I get too, closed down in some kind of thing that it needs to be this way or something. Um, that might be my biggest weakness. And my last jump in skill. I think I learned a lot actually playing Magic on the arena.
Yep. I
You
was
know,
going to say that too.
sequencing and stack and mechanics like that. But I actually think that my biggest jump in skill was the first time I participated in a tournament. You know, having a little bluff up your sleeve, not just tapping all your lands, playing your stuff, and like, yeah, now I attack. So I learned a lot actually playing in a tournament, and people were really nice and coming over and say, well, maybe you should do this and this with the deck. And yeah, I remember my first match. I was like just sitting there shuffling and saying 2 cards there, and then a mana, 2 cards there, and then a mana.
No, no,
And
no, no,
someone
no,
was
no,
going,
no.
"What are you doing?" I'm shuffling. I was like, "You're actually stacking the cards. You're not allowed to do this."
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think my greatest skill is that I'm fairly good at reading my opponent. So that's actually not as much a magic skill as it is just like good at like looking at people and seeing how's it going over there. I think my greatest weakness is I prefer my decks to be like creature type specific, which sometimes I'm sort of like boxing myself in. But they do okay my decks, so I'm actually okay with it. But I'm certain that if I could just break out of it and just go play goblins with elves and dwarves and everything else and just mesh together these sort of mechanics that go best together, I'm certain my decks would get better. But I like my flavor. I like my basic lands to be themed to my goblin deck. And yeah, I enjoy a lot of it. That's more about the visual aesthetics and about like creating the story sort of behind each deck. And I think I got a lot better when I also started to play Magic Arena. Just getting an awareness about the different steps within each turn, that really helped. Definitely. So let's see here. So, how did you guys get into TCGs in the first place? Well, we can just briefly cover it again. Both of us sort of have played when we were kids. We were introduced to it by some classmates, and we bought magic cards and played for a while. And then we sort of like became teenagers or older teenagers and packed it away. And when we met each other, we had talked a bit about our magic collection and wanting to play. And finally, back in maybe 2011, 2012, we
Yeah.
really got back into it and started buying sets and cards and created our booster pack collection also.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to say what our booster pack collection is?
Well, yeah, we actually just, every time we open a new display, we just take one little booster pack and seal it and tuck it away in a binder. And yeah, over the years, that has actually gone to be quite a
Pretty
few
pretty
booster packs.
solid collection, yeah.
Yeah, but it's also it's yeah, it's actually really fun. Also looking back at some of the older booster packs,
Exactly.
and it works much like putting cards in a binder because you're just looking at the great art from the packs. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and also we started just not only getting the newer sets, but also working our way back and just like buying older stuff like Homelands and Ice Age and just having those sealed booster packs. That's been a lot of fun actually. I also saw a question up like really long time ago, but maybe we could just cover that as well. What is our collection like? Do we have any Power Nine? Sadly, we do
No,
not.
no.
We're poor people with 3 kids. They take all of our money. But
And
we do
also,
have like a fairly decent collection.
yeah, but yeah, mainly focused around newer sets, newer cards,
Yeah.
and then we're trying to get into the old stuff and buying it whenever we can. Um,
But we do have like the dual lands and the fetches and a lot of those older stuff, and we are actually buying a lot of old stuff, and trying to like get collections of revised and stuff like that, but we don't have like entire older collections of the older sets. We always mostly played and then bought some cards and then they became valuable and you maybe have some in the binder, but also actively trying to buy all the like Ursa block cards as well. Whenever we saw them in our LGS, then we just pretty much picked everything up we could get our hands on.
yeah, Hmm.
So let us see here. How do you collect your cards? Do you prefer to buy the singles or perhaps enjoy opening CU product?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
we're equal opportunity offenders there. We open the seal product. We usually open maybe like a box per set. In the old days, we would open a box and put a box away. But at the moment, we're not buying as much as we used to, and also
No.
because we're getting into sorcery as well.
Yeah, and also, after Magic 30th, it
It
was
was a
like,
feels
well,
bad.
that was a game changer.
Yeah,
Before that, you had some kind of certainty that if you kept something sealed, it would appreciate it. And Magic just cooled a lot after Magic 30th. And also for us, it was like we looked at each other saying, "Are we done with Magic? Was this a game breaker or deal breaker?"
yeah.
Because, well, having them reprint reserve list, despite having said over and over that they wouldn't do that, that it was just a big credibility hit.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, I think actually there was some lasting damage on Magic, and I think you can see it now also.
Yeah, people are
Um,
still angry, and the whole Pinkertons thing, they sent private security out because somebody had sold a product they shouldn't have. I mean, it hasn't been great in Magic. It really hasn't. There's not a lot to say about that. But we really are so happy that we got to open a couple of the sorcery packs because that was definitely a game changer for me. I was the one who found it on Kickstarter, and I was like, okay, I backed this game. I think it looks really cool. I don't know a lot about the gameplay, but I want to see it and maybe just buy a couple of boxes. And I think you got quite the surprise opening the product.
yeah, TCG saying wish he started earlier than he did. Yeah, I have the exact same feeling, especially because I sold my own collection, and way too cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it feels like if you have been in Magic before and you have seen those cards, you have seen dual lands being taken out of packs, and you have traded and collected, and you have had unlimited or revised or whatever. It feels bad now buying packs, opening stuff, and knowing that none of these cards are going to hold any monetary value in the future. You're not going to be able to sell them. You're not going to be able to trade them for anything because they are going to be worthless cardboard. And even if they aren't, they're going to be reprinted, and then they're going to be worthless.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a downer. And I can feel it when I open Flesh and Blood, for instance. Some Flesh and Blood boxes are not that good, but usually, if you spend the same amount that we do on Magic on Flesh and Blood, you are going to have something for your binder that's going to hold some value.
Yeah, and they also have like a system in place. They do something in cold foil, and then they don't reprint the same card with the same treatment. Then you can reprint it in rainbow foil, but they'll never reprint that specific card in cold foil, and that makes a huge difference to collectors. And we play Flesh and Blood as well, but it does make a difference if you decide to invest in something or you have something nice in your binder. It's nice to know that it'll hold some value if you want to trade it in for other cards, or if you're getting out and just want a little bit of the money you spent with you, because TCGs are fairly expensive,
Yeah,
especially Magic also.
but that is also the dividing
Yeah,
part of Magic, that
but I think on that topic, I mean, there's always
the
going to
players
be
versus
players
collectors.
versus collectors, but most players end up as collectors if they continue playing long enough. And I think it's important that cards are accessible, but I also think that you do have to have some cards retain some value. Otherwise, it might as well just be a board game with no variance and randomization. So DR is saying that he's really excited for sorcery, but a little worried about the movement on the board, and I think you are too.
Yeah, I have the exact same sentiment. I'm loving the art, but I'm a bit worried about playing on a grid, and I'm a bit worried about having all this on top and below stuff. But Sophie said that
People
just,
seem
yeah,
really
people
excited.
seem positive, and people seems to think that it's not that hard when you actually go into it. And that, if you've played board games and stuff like that, you know that rules seem really hard when you just read about it or listen somebody to tell you about it. But the moment you get to play, many rules seem just really
Yeah.
intuitive. And I hope it's going to be the same with sorcery.
And I think the extensive playtesting also really cut away a lot of the clunkiness and a lot of the things that made it difficult, to make sure that it's just more fun and easily playable.
Yeah.
Prupu, I made the logo. I do all our technical graphical stuff. I have no training. I just kind of do it, and then hopefully it works. Do, do, do. Yeah, price hikes exactly. Magic continues to
Mm,
just go up in price. That's definitely a feels bad as well. Yeah, Alex, I have an even better one. I remember seeing it. What is it? I think we must have seen it around the same time, 1500 or something like that in Faustica back in
yeah,
the early days. 1,500 krona for a Black Lotus. Wow, we should definitely have bought it.
and to all those not speaking kronas, that's around, I don't know,
Cheap, very very cheap.
150 euros or something,
Yeah, yeah,
give and
definitely.
take. But yeah, I had a Max Emeralds and enough Wheels of Fortune to isolate a house, and I sold it all, and I got this great CD.
So happy because that CD is
This
great.
is my
That
Max
was
Emerald.
definitely worth trading in a Max Emerald for
Yeah.
or something. So, any last questions? I think we're just gonna keep a last round of questions here. And thank you so much for joining. We
Yeah.
were pretty scared that nobody would show up, so it's so cool
Just
to
being a
see all of
really
you.
lonely evening,
Just you and me
drowning our sorrows in vodka afterwards.
talking into a mic. That's a lot of fun as well. But do leave any questions if you have any. I'll just give you some time to type. And it has been so cool. We have a lot of videos coming up. We just really need some more time to get it done. We've been meaning to do something with our favorite work from, work as art pieces from Sorcery. We're doing something with Throne of Eldraine, one of the few sites,
Wilds of Eldraine.
Wilds of Eldraine, yeah, that we're actually really excited for in the fall, um, and a lot more content coming up. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Chase Simon, for showing up. I don't know, is this like a really awkward time for you guys? I hadn't thought about the time zone. And thank you, Savannah. It's always good to see you and have so
Yeah.
much support from you. Prugal, yeps, a lot of cards we should have sold back in the day when they were still worth anything. Sorcery kit details coming up next week. Oh, that sounds spicy, Simon. That we'll definitely have to have a look out for that. And troll free, exactly. I also set it up to only being able to comment if you are a subscriber, I believe. This is our first live, so I'm not certain if I made that, but I think I did. So, guys, unless you have any last questions, we really just want to thank you so much for showing up. It has been great just talking about TCGs. That is exactly why we are doing this channel. And it was really cool that you wanted to come hang out. So I'm not seeing any last questions. So guys, hopefully we can do this again
Yeah.
soon. Maybe for the a little bit before the next 500 videos, but
Yeah.
at some point. So everybody take care. Thank you so much for showing up and have a great weekend.
Bye
Bye
bye.
guys.